you are deserving of happiness. You are deserving of healing. You are deserving of joy.
Whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, work towards it and put God first. God has to be in your life.
Wanted to use the skills and the training, hopefully to advocate on behalf of the community. I'm able to say that on Chop It Up. Be prepared to keep it real.
Hello and welcome to the Chop It Up podcast, the show that's unfiltered and unapologetic. Each episode will bring you closer to finding your purpose, so be sure to listen all the way through. Now, here's your host, Carmisha Superville.
Welcome back to the Chop It Up podcast, where we keep it real, raw, and relevant. I'm your host, Kamisha Superville, and today we are diving into a topic that so many of us struggle with, but don't talk enough about: our relationship with money. Yes. Now, we're not just talking about budgeting or getting rich quick or those Instagram schemes that we be seeing. We're talking about how to actually fall in love with money in a way that's healthy, empowering, and align with your purpose. I've got a dope guest with me today who's going to keep us unpacked on who's going to help us unpack our mindset shifts, habits, and strategies that can turn our fear and frustration into confidence and clarity when it comes to our finances or your finances. So whether you're balling on a budget or just trying to make ends meet, trust me, this conversation is for you. You're ready to chop it up? Let's go. Please welcome my guest, Coach Tanisha Marie. Tanisha, welcome to Chop It Up. How are you?
Hey, thank you, Kamisha, for having me. I am amazing. How are you?
And you are amazing. So, a
Mhm.
little backstory for my listeners so that you guys can understand the person that you're listening to. I have known Tanisha for maybe now going on over 6+ years.
I want to
And
say 10, actually.
I think, right, okay, 10. But
Hmm.
let me just tell y'all, again, listeners, Tanisha is such a trailblazer. I didn't want to read you off her bio because it's extensive, but we do have it at the end of this podcast. You can watch and read and follow her online. But I wanted to talk about the character of this young woman. Tanisha is a powerhouse. She is right here in the New York market, and she provides financial empowerment to her community, large and small. She's been able to build a multi-million dollar business, right? Because I think, yeah,
Yeah.
and we're
Hmm.
gonna talk more about
Hmm.
that. But
Hmm.
outside of the money aspect of who she is, this woman is a change maker. Everyone that's around her, she wants to make sure that they succeed in a real,
Hmm.
authentic way. So I just want y'all to
Hmm.
tap in, listen to this conversation, and definitely learn about falling in love with money because we all need to have those positive relationships. Tanisha, before we
Right.
begin, tell the people who don't know you a little bit about your background.
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be here tonight. I am Tanisha. They call me Coach Tanisha Marie. I have been an entrepreneur for over 13 years now. I'm a mom of a 24-year-old and 16-year-old daughters. I've been married 16 years. I actually am going to celebrate my anniversary next month, June 16th. And I'm celebrating 16 years. And I have a passion to help us get ahead. I used to be a social worker. I always wanted to be a math teacher. I could not pass the math exam, but I still wanted to teach. So I became a DOE vendor, and now I'm able to teach in the schools. And I became MWBE certified. Which we will talk more about. I became MWBE certified, and now I'm able to contract with city, state, and federal agencies. One thing that I've learned as an entrepreneur is that we don't talk enough about wealth. We don't talk enough about success. We don't talk enough about money. Now, we may talk about getting money, but as far as really understanding how money truly works, we don't talk about that because we don't go in depth. And then if our parents didn't know about it, then of course we don't know anything about it. So on my journey, I've learned a lot about money. I've learned a lot about investing. I've learned a lot about savings and budgeting. So I really feel like, I'm self taught, right? Because I did a lot of personal development. I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on mentors and read hundreds of hours of books and listened to hundreds of hours of audibles and went to so many events. So, I'm like a wealth of knowledge. Like I know a little bit about a lot of things, right? Around money. So I don't really call myself like a financial coach or like a wealth guru. So maybe people may say I'm a wealth guru. I just call myself a community leader, right? Because I build community and I also help us, right, to start to see that we can get ahead. It's just now, how are we going to do it?
Mm. So true. So true.
Hmm.
So you spoke about the how we're gonna do it. Let's talk about that. How would you describe your personal relationship with money today?
Well, as growing up as a young girl, my mom, we was living in the projects, and my mom used to always say she don't have money. She was broke. She didn't have money. She didn't have broke. She was broke, and I was like, well, she goes to work every day, so how you don't never have money? So I really didn't understand that, right? It wasn't until I got older as an adult and realized that money's everywhere. Like you can make money anywhere you want to. So right now, I mean, of course, you never reach the pinnacle ever. Nobody does. But I'm more comfortable with money. I talk to everybody about money. Me and my kids talk about money all the time. Me and my husband talk about money all the time. My grandparents who never ever wanted to talk about money. I talk to them about money. So it's getting comfortable, right, with understanding that money's our friend, right? We need money. Right? You got to have that right relationship. We need money from the day we're born. I always tell the kids, we need money from the day we're born to the day we die and every day in between. So why on earth wouldn't we talk about money? Right?
Absolutely.
Why on earth wouldn't we build a healthy relationship with money? Too many people have a bad relationship with money. Soon as they get it, it's gone. Now they got to keep waiting. Soon as they get it, it's gone. Now they got to keep waiting. So they got a bad relationship because it's like I never got money anyway. Right? So now I
Mm.
feel comfortable with money. Now I feel comfortable with making 10 grand in a day. Now I feel comfortable with making 100 grand in a month. Now I feel comfortable, right, with investing my money also too, so that my money can work for me. But it took me 13 years to get here.
Mm. You spoke about those conversations that a lot of times are in our households and in the black nuclear family in terms of the lack of finance, the lack of money. I'm working these two jobs, I'm working
Hmm.
these three jobs, and I
Hmm.
can't seem to find my way. It's funny because I met someone, a security guard yesterday. I was shopping at a retail store, and
Hmm.
she told me that she wants to go to college, but she can't afford to. And I said, why? She said, because I got to work.
Hmm.
I got people that's dependent on me, you know? And I saw the sadness in this young lady, and T. This is a young lady, I don't even think she's over 25. And I saw the sadness in the
Hmm.
fact that she has to work as a security guard, standing over 16 hours at a retail spot because she has to make money to provide for her family. So I want to know,
Hmm.
what are the messages that you were hearing outside of your mom saying that I ain't got no money? What were the messages that you were hearing about money when you were growing up?
So outside of my mom saying she never had money, my grandmother used to say, oh, every credit card that you get or any offer, make sure you cut them up, right?
Mm.
Of course, we need credit now for everything now. So I didn't understand that either. Now, my dad, he was in my life and he would say, save for a rainy day. Now, of course, as a kid, you don't understand what is a rainy day. So as I got older and became a mom, I realized every doggone day is a rainy day because if my kids don't eat, that's a problem. If I can't pay for my kids' school, that's a problem, right? So I feel like every day is a rainy day. So I didn't really hear too much. And now I have my aunts and my uncles who never talked about money, but if I asked them for something, they will always buy it. So there was really no talk about money, success, or any kind of wealth in my growing up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. What, why do you think us humans have a love-hate relationship with money? Why do you think that is? Even to your point, there was really no talk about wealth building in my household. Why do you think that
Mm-hmm.
is? Outside of
Well,
what we know, on a macro level, in
mm-hmm.
terms of, keeping education from us and so forth. But why do you think we have a love-hate relationship with money?
Well, it starts with the mindset,
Mm.
right? If our parents lived check to check, that's what we saw, right? So we developed that mindset, right? So that's what we do. So then we transfer that to our children, right? So we can have a good relationship with money when we have it, right? Tax season comes, people feel good about, money, they buying stuff, they feeling good, they paying their bills off and all of that. But once the money dries up, now you're back to $0 and 35 cents in your bank account, right? So now you feel bad about money, and then you start to feel bad because you can't provide, right? See, money is just that tool to help us to live out the life that we want. See, I didn't know that, right? When I was a kid growing up, right? I understand that now, right? And a lot of people, they just spend, 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 spend. It's like this cycle of just keep spending, and nobody stops and say, I need to budget. I need to invest. I need to save. I need to build a relationship around money. How do I feel when I really have a lot of money? Most people have never had more than $10,000 at one time. That's the average person has never had more than $10,000. So when you start talking about hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, people are like, oh, wow, right? Because most people ain't never had more than $10,000, right?
Yeah.
So we got to get good at learning how, first of all, to make money, then to keep the money, and then multiply the money, right? And then, of course, we already know how to spend, so we're just going to keep spending the money. And so that creates the negative relationship because it's like we can never keep money. Right? Think about, just a heterosexual relationship, a man and a woman. You never see each other. Y'all never talking. How do you start to build that level of comfort, that level of trust with one another? You can't, right? Because you guys are never seeing each other. You guys are never communicating. It's the same thing with money. You got to have money in order to build a relationship with it. So we struggle with the love hate relationship. I feel good when I got it, and I feel like dying when I don't.
Mm, I love that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
powerful. If
Mm-hmm.
you think about that in terms of like some of the in inner cities that we live, some of the lives that some of us live, that kind
Mm-hmm.
of scarcity mindset. So to your point, mindset, right? I
Mm-hmm.
love that. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about that as we're talking about mindset shift. What are
Mm-hmm.
some of the most common limited beliefs around money? Give me like maybe three limited beliefs about money.
Well, the one thing is believing that you can't have a lot of money. You can't get rich, right? You can't get rich, right? Because again, it stems from mom and dad working their ass off, right? People believe, right, that money is hard to get. I talk to my kids about this all the time. Money is so hard to get. So everything is it's like blood, sweat, and tears. Everything that I had to literally work my ass off, right? For money. So people say that to me. I had to work my ass off, for this, right? So people don't have like that projection, right? To really start to see themselves with a lot of money. So not believing that we can have a lot of money, right? And then never actually having money, and then believing that money is to be spent and not invested, right? Money is to be spent, right? I speak to a lot of parents. I speak to a lot of kids. Money is for bills. That's what they say. Money is for bills. Really, nobody says money is to be invested. I might get one kid out of 500 that says money is to be invested, right? So these are the different beliefs, right? So
Mm.
it's like the shift. of understanding that we have the power to build wealth. God told us that, right? It's in the Bible, right? So building wealth is a spiritual thing. Entrepreneurship is a spiritual thing. Money is a spiritual thing. But if we believe that it's so hard to get, we'll never build the relationship that we need, and we will never change our belief around money.
Wow, Tanisha, you're dropping so many gems.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to make this practical because you're even speaking to my soul as well, because you know I'm also an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
It's good what you're saying. How can we put it into practice? How can we empower our listeners? What are the
Mm-hmm.
steps? What
Mm-hmm.
actionable steps we need to take to get out and break through those limiting
Mm-hmm.
beliefs?
Mm-hmm. I just did a event last night, a financial literacy event on one of the ladies that came to my women's wealth and wellness. She was one of the panelists, and she has a platform. And I just did a whole class for her community. And the first thing that I told them is that you have to get my book, which is the ABCs of wealth building. Right? This is where we start at. Let's start by getting the knowledge into our heads, right? Into our brains. While you're reading, right, you could be learning, right? People, people see the book and think it's just for little kids, but it's for everybody, K through 100. 1 to 100, in the womb to 100, right? Because everybody can learn something. Also, I tell people there's something called fractional shares of companies. If you shop at Walmart, if you shop on Amazon, you shop at Target, you shop at Gucci, you buy in Casamigos, you're buying Don Julio Hennessy, there's a stock and there's a way for you to get paid from all of the stuff that you are spending money with. You go to eTrade.com. You can go on your Cash App and start buying fractional shares, which is $5 a week. This is what I train parents on in the schools. $5 a week. Go on your Cash App. Just buy an Amazon stock or buy an Apple stock, whatever you buy all the time. If you go to Walmart every week, buy you a Walmart stock for $5. Now, once you start getting more comfortable with investing and seeing that your money's growing, even if you see a penny, that will give you so much confidence to keep investing that $5 the next week. Now, once you get that confidence, now go to $10, go to $20, go to $30 a week, right? And then now you can start buying a whole share. I think Walmart right now is like $98. I'm sure most people, if they go to Walmart, they spend more than $98 every time they go there, right? So you're constantly spending. See, we have the consumer mindset. So we're going to constantly spend. But it's like that same company could be paying me dividends. That same company could be paying me every single month or every single year, right? But again, right, we got to get started now, right? We can't keep waiting. I'm going to do research. I'm going to research for another 20 years. You're not going to lose sleep if you invest $5 a week on your Cash App. You're not going to lose sleep. You're not going to lose your house. Your bills ain't going to be backed up if you spend $5. Right? But it's the consistency of investing. This is how people get rich. All wealthy people have stocks, they have real estate, they got gold and silver, they got bonds, some of them got Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Those are the investments. Right? And money gives us power. And a lot of people are scared to have the power that they deserve. Right? We all deserve to be rich. We all deserve, to have money. Right? We should look in our bank account. We should have $50,000 and all our bills is already paid. Right? It shouldn't be all my bills are not paid and I'm at negative 35 cents. Right? So Cash App, everybody has Cash App these days. eTrade.com and eTrade.com, you can actually open up a custodial account for your babies as young as 15 days old. So what I do with my daughters, right? So my daughter, my oldest is 24, well, she'd be 24. I started investing for her when she was 16. So she developed that habit. So now every month she's investing fractional into some of those shares, right? Now I have my 16-year-old, right? Now she's 16. Every birthday, we buying her Lululemon stock because she loves Lululemon. Lululemon t-shirts is $80.
Yeah.
What? It's crazy. Lululemon keychains is $40. But the stock right now is $330, but you can buy $5 worth of Lululemon stock. So guess what? My daughter's turning 16 next month. She's going to get a Lululemon stock. When Christmas come around, I don't buy gifts. We buy stocks. Right? Next birthday come, we're going to buy another Lululemon, or we're going to buy, an Apple stock or whatever. Right? It's the point is the consistency. Right? And being conscious. Right? I talk to a lot of women, and I talk to a lot of people that have 401ks and retirement accounts, and they're like, oh, I'm already invested in all of that. Do you really know what you truly are invested in? Most people don't, right? They just think, oh, my retirement account is going to take care of me. And come to find out, when you 65, 75 to retire, you can't retire because you don't have no money. Because you didn't pay attention to your money for the last 20 years, right? So people, we really have to get focused on paying attention to our money. Again, we have money. Black people, we are $4 trillion people. We don't have a bank to show for it. We ain't got a school to show for it. We ain't got nothing, a laundromat. We don't have nothing to show for it, right? But we got all the Gucci belts. We got all the wigs. We got all the Nikes. We got all the PlayStations, right? It's like all we got to do is just make a shift, right? And $5 a week or even $5 a month, right? Investing in stocks and just watching your money grow. So that's how we get started.
Wow. I ain't got no follow-up questions after that. I feel like, shots fired left and right.
That's how we get started. That's literally how we get started. We get the knowledge and then we implement, right? We don't just keep researching, right? I meet people that research for 20 years. I got my aunt who's been wanting to write a book for 20 years. It's like, Auntie, what are you waiting for? You've been researching a book for 20 years. When are you going to do it? The action. Because people have fear, right? Especially if they never did it. And as you get older, it just gets harder. Right? So that's why I said your child, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your child. Give your child, right, a hand up, not a hand out, right? So I'm teaching my kids how to be independent, right? How can they make their money work for them instead of just spinning forever? Because this is exactly how we continue to stay broke and broken.
So, Tanisha, I agree 100%. I want to ask you your opinion. You and I are in the social media world, and we see a lot of Black wealth, especially in the spaces that we work in and we network with amongst. Why do you think we haven't have the proof? We haven't had the universities, the institutions, the bank. Why do you think it's been so difficult to really rebuild a replica of Black Wall Street? Why?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Jay-Z's, you got the Diddy's, you
mm-hmm.
got the Magic
Mm-hmm.
Johnsons, you got the
Mm-hmm.
Oprah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
Well, I don't know if we want to talk about Diddy right
I
now and all
mean,
his
he
stuff.
up in there, you know what I'm saying? Listen, he a legend, and he more legendary now.
Right, right. So what I've learned is that everybody want to be the HNIC. Everybody want to be the head nigga in charge. Nobody wants to say, let's do something together. Let me be the head, but let me delegate, right, to the others that know how to do something good. We want to be the one man band, right? We want to do everything and we can't, right? So that stops us. And then another issue is that we gatekeep information from each other. Why? We already 455 years behind. By you telling me where you got your business loan from ain't gonna help us get ahead 200 years. Right. So everybody want to be the top, and everybody want to be the one that says, "Oh, I did it." Right? Instead of collectively, like when I do my Black Excellence Festival, I have a team. I always tell people this is not my event. This is a community event. I do my women's events, right? It's not my event. It's our event. We did this. So I'm separating myself from everybody else who want to be the HNIC all the time. They got to have their name and accolades, and I don't even care about a title. I don't. I don't care about a title, right? I want us to truly get ahead, right? I want to help people to understand that we have the power to get ahead. We have the power to build wealth. We got the power to do whatever we want to do. And if I can be the inspiration and I can be the empowerment to help another woman or a child or a man, that's all I care about.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. I wanted to ask you, where do you get that empowerment mindset from? Where do you get that from? So many of us have, like you said, the head, person in charge, or I'm gonna gatekeep this info. Where do you get that spirit of sharing? You know, I wanna also mention a few years ago, I had reached out to you and I said, "Hey, I'm doing an event. I'm partnering with this company, whatever, and I'm selling tickets." And immediately you said to me, "I want 10 tickets. I got a table." You didn't overthink it, Tanisha. I think about those moments and I said to myself, "My God, this woman is different." Where do you get that from? Is it innate inside of you? Did you train yourself like that? Or did you just say, "Man, I'm tired. We got to do something different"?
Well, it could be a combination of everything. So, for some context, my family is not a close knit family. My family is very separated. I mean, they all educated pastors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, right? So I come from the middle class family, but we're separated, right? Nobody can come together for nothing, right? At all, right? So I wasn't always like this, right? It wasn't until I became an entrepreneur, right? And started to understand that entrepreneurship is spiritual, and I started building a relationship with God on top of healing myself from trauma that my mom, inflicted on me, family, just, in general, just being a Black woman, right? So I've learned that there's enough for everybody to win. If everybody wanted to make $1 million a day, we all could make $1 million a day, and we all could do it doing the same doggone thing.
Mm.
It's crazy, right? So, as me growing into the woman that I am, and of course, I'm not at my pinnacle, right? I have more growth to do. Spirituality is my thing. I fast. I pray every day. I have my Bible. I try to go to church as much as I can. I go to spiritual events. I have a team of spiritual women that we pray and fast all the time together, right? And what God told me is that there's abundance, there's
Mm.
prosperity for all. If you gatekeep, Tanisha, you won't be making millions of dollars. You
Mm.
won't have your big house. You won't have your nice car, right? So to me, if I can give you something that can go make you 10,000 or go help your family get ahead, that's not taking nothing from me. That's not taking food off my table, right? See, one thing about entrepreneurship, you got to be able to sleep at night, right? If you are not doing something that's really truly helping people, a lot of these people are really frauds. They scammers. They're not really helping people. They just getting people money and that's it. Right? You got to be really fulfilled at what you're doing. I'm going to teach financial literacy until they close my casket. I'm going to empower my people until they close my casket. I don't care, I'm in a wheelchair. I'll be 80, 90 years old in the wheelchair talking about money and how we can get ahead. So the mindset came from mentors. The mindset came from reading books, attending seminars, going to events, being around millionaires. That's like, here you go, here you go, no questions asked, here you go, here that go, no problem, right? So that showed me a different light. When you got money, you move different. When you broke, you move different, right? So I want to move different with money, right? So I just feel like there's enough, Kamisha, for everybody. We all could win. We all could become millionaires. We all could have a nice house. We all could have nice cars. We all can have hundreds of thousands of dollars. We all can have nice friends. But if you're a gatekeeper and if you have that scarcity mindset of there's not enough, then you'll never get enough. And this is the exact reason why most of us cannot get ahead in life.
Girl, this is a powerful one. I'm so happy you agreed to be on this podcast. I want to just thank you, man. This is a powerful one, and this message needs to be echoed worldwide. All right. Building trust with finance. I think this is a really good segue. How can we build trust with our finances? Why is tracking our money so imperative when it comes to building healthier relationships?
First of all, we need to know what we're doing with our money, right? Most people get paid, they pay their bills, they go to happy hour, and that's it. That's it. Most people that go to happy hour is not even happy, but they're at happy hour though, right? Yeah. It's crazy. So we pay our bills, we go to happy hour, and then we go home and now we're depressed, right? So what I usually tell people is do a projection, right? Do a projection of your money. If you have the same paycheck every week or every month or whatever, you know what you're getting. So it's not like you don't know, right? Whatever bills you have. I tell people pay themselves first, even if it's $5. That goes back to the investing $5, right? Every week, right? Right? If you get paid every month, you get paid every week. Pay yourself $5, right? Let's go back to the old ways that grandma used to do. She used to have a jar, or she used to have a little purse or a little sock and put it in a bosom, right? $5. Start with that, right? Start paying attention, right, to how you're spending your money. Start looking at your subscriptions. We have so many subscriptions, Kamisha, it's insane. We're paying hundreds of dollars in subscriptions and we don't even know where it's going. Get rid of cable because you don't even need cable no more. We got YouTube, we got streaming, we got this, we got that. Start really paying attention, friends. Stop buying every iPhone. Stop buying every wig. Stop buying every PlayStation. You don't need all this junk because here's the reality. When you die, nothing goes with you. Right? So we got to start paying attention. And more importantly, we got to give a damn about ourselves. And we got to give a damn about the next generation too. Right? Because again, it's not just us. Right? We got to now pour into the next generation. These kids is out here killing each other. These kids is dropping out of high school. Kids is dropping out of 8th grade. They already clocked out. They're like, I don't want to do this school thing. This is for the birds. Listen, I go to many schools. The kids say that. This is for the birds. I don't want to do this. I'm going to sleep. Every day I'm in class sleeping.
Right.
Right? So it's a lot, right? It's a lot that we need to do as adults. And I tell my friends this. We, as the millennials, because if you're under 45, you're considered to be a millennial. The millennials is the last generation to get it right. The baby boomers, they already on their way out of here. They already retired. They already getting their pensions from their job or whatever the case is, right? The millennials, right? We're the next generation and we're the sandwich generation. We're between the kids. We see the kids coming up and we see our parents going out and we're in the middle, right? So if we're not giving back to the future, we won't have a future. We're going to continue to have 80 and 90-year-olds running the country like we do now.
Woo. Girl. All right now, y'all, I hope y'all listening. What I heard so far is like we got some work to do. People, I hope you're listening to the
Mm-hmm.
gems that's being dropped. I ain't even
Mm-hmm.
got nothing to say. All right, we still talking about building trust with our finances.
Mm-hmm.
What tools would you say or habits that helps or can help others feel more in control and less anxious about money?
Well, number one, you got to be around people that's also comfortable with money, right? And this is something that I had to do. So all my friends, so I used to have a ton of friends, but they had 9 to 5s. So they wasn't comfortable with money. They didn't have good money habits, right? So every time they got paid, they was broke. Right? We couldn't talk about going on a trip. We couldn't talk about going here. We couldn't talk about going there because they never had money for nothing. Right? So I had to literally change my circle. I just literally posted in the comments, one girl said she wanted to commit suicide. And I said, sis, please change your circle. It was on social media. I says, please change your circle. You need a circle of people that's going to help you, inspire you, and uplift you. Your friends matter. I don't need just a bunch of nobodies, right? I need people who I can use. Your friends are to be used, right? Not just, oh, we just turning up and drinking and smoking. That's nothing. That's not productive. How can we build? Like one of my friends, she helped me with my book. She's a teacher. She helped me with the book. That was a great friend. Then my other friends, they helped me promote the book, right? So we got to get ourselves in environments that's going to foster us and force us to think about our money. Getting this book, The ABCs of Wealth, is going to force you to start thinking and paying attention. Get rid of all the noise. Get rid of all the garbage that you follow on social media. Start following people in finance. Start listening to Market Mondays with EYL, right? Start following Matt. Start following people that are really about this life. Because remember, on social media, everybody's rich. Nobody's struggling. Everybody got, got it going on, right? But 99% of people on social media are one paycheck away from being homeless, right? So we got to get around those right people. And what are we putting into our mind? Right? What are we putting into our mind? One audio that actually helped me to change my life is The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You guys can YouTube it, whatever, and listen to that every day while you're getting ready. You and your
Say it
kids
one
can
more
listen
time.
to it. It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Now, he's long gone, but his legacy continues to live. It's a 30-minute audio, right? And you can listen to it every single day while you're getting ready, while you're cooking dinner, while you're cooking breakfast, whatever, right? While you're in the car taking your kids to
Yeah.
school, you can be listening to that because, again, we have to change our mindset. Our mind has been in shackles for over 450 years, right? So we got to start to break it piece by piece. You can't just bust out of it, right? You got to break it piece by piece. And even me, I'm still breaking the chains off of my mindset, right? But I've broken it to the point where now I can see and now I can be able to help others see, right? So it really starts with your environment and what are you putting into your mind. And it costs nothing to do
Yeah,
that.
I agree. 100%. I agree.
Mhm.
So, what I heard in this juncture is tapping into money management, podcasts, conversations, books,
Mhm.
following influencers who you deem that's really giving that education in an authentic way, and also doing your research because a lot of these folks that talk that money talk, they're not also doing it as well. They're not, so doing your research. Tanisha, I love the fact that you spoke about kind of your mindset, and you also gave us a charge as to what we need to do. I want to
Mhm.
ask you, manifestation versus management.
Mhm.
Manifestation versus management. Let's talk about the balance between dreaming big and doing the practical work.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about that as we
So
close out.
dreaming big also comes with your environment, right? It's like this whole conversation goes together, right? Because in order for you to dream big, you got to see with your mind's eyes what you want. But if you're around all your coworkers who don't have, if you're around your whole family who don't have, what forces you to dream big, right? And then manifestation is all spiritual. You got to believe I could make $1 million in a month. You got to believe I could make or change the world. You got to believe that you can write a book. Like I said, my aunt, 20 years. She doesn't believe. It don't take 20 years to write a book. It takes 2 days. You can write a book in 2 days these days. Yes. Right? Yes, so people are not really understanding, although they got all these gurus on social media talking about manifestation, but they're really not spiritual. Because God says, right, that He gives us the ability to build wealth, right? He gives us, right, the decisions, right, and the freedom to make our own decisions. But unfortunately, we end up making the wrong decisions because of the environments that we are in. My environment is my kids, my 2 children, my grandmother, and my husband. I'm constantly with them all the time. But guess what? We talking about money all the time. We talking about how we gonna get ahead all the time, right? We talking about watching, certain podcasts all the time. We talk about reading the Bible all the time, right? But I had to create that environment in my own home, right? Most marriages, 60% of marriages fail because of money. Another 85% of businesses fail because of money. 60% of people commit suicide because of money. Money is the root of everything. You need money from the day you're born to the day you die and every day in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you agree that money is real, or does it really come down to strategy and planning?
Well, money is spiritual because it's really just a tool. Again, what is your belief? If you believe I got to work hard for money, that's what you're going to do. And you'll never have freedom. If you believe money is a tool, then you can have some freedom. There's plenty of people right now working hard and they broke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to get in the right environments. You got to apply the right actions, right? Have the right strategy, but also believe. Have the vision for your family. As a woman, there's plenty single women. Have a vision for you and your children. If you're a married woman like myself, what is your vision for your marriage? Right? My husband said the other day, he said, "Yo, what if I was broke?" I said, "We wouldn't be together." It's that simple, bro. Love only takes you so far.
Yeah.
Right? Loving my husband takes it so far. And marriage, for the people that's interested in getting married, marriage is a business first. You got to know how to manage money together. You got to know how to manage bills together. You got to know what to do with money together. Right? And me and my husband learned that along the way. But of course, I was spearheading that because I was like, you know what? This marriage is my first and last. I have aunts who done got married 5 times. I done got uncles who got married 8 times. I'm not doing that. And it was because of money and trust. Right? So I said, you know what, God? And I pray every single day for my husband. I pray every single day for my husband's well-being, and he prays for me too.
Yeah.
Right? So this walk is very spiritual. If you want to really get closer to God, become an entrepreneur.
Oof. All right. Falling in love with money without being obsessed. So many of us can get really obsessed with it, right? That we do strange things for some change. How do we love and respect money without becoming greedy or, as you said earlier, materialistic, collecting a lot? How do we love and respect money without becoming materialistic or greedy or hoarding?
Well, Well, the main thing is, having money goes back to that, right? You got to have money in order to build a relationship with it. Most people buy the material things because they want to feel like they got money. They want to feel rich, right? But then you have some other people who are the extreme where they hold all their money.
Right.
It's like
Absolutely.
the people that hold all their money are the ones who don't have none. That's
Mm.
crazy. How do you hold all of your money and you don't have none? I mean, my grandmother said that to me. She said, "Oh, I save all my money." Okay, Gram, where's your money at? You got $0.35 in the bank. What money, Graham? Right? So it's the mindset, right? So it's the mindset, right? You hold all your money, but your bills are up to here. You're making $35,000, but your bills is $135,000 a year.
Mm.
Right? So some people hoard money and they stay broke, right? And then some people just let all their money go, and that's how, they stay broke, too. So in order to respect money, right? In order to respect money, you got to keep getting it, right?
Mm.
This is why I also tell people, there's nothing wrong with your job, but have you a side business? Start investing, get you a side hustle, do something that can bring you an extra 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people in America, I think they said about 60% of Americans don't even have $500 in case of emergency.
I was about to talk about that earlier. Yep. For rainy day.
Emergency.
Yep. Yep.
Like I
Yep.
told you, an
Yep.
emergency is every day. If my kids don't eat today, that's an emergency.
Yeah. That's
If
real
I
talk.
can't get to work, that's an emergency. So
Mm.
emergencies is every single day. And
Yep.
again, most people are struggling financially, right? And again, it's just a shift, right? Just like investing. If you got a $2,000 iPhone, Apple right now is only $200 for the stock.
Mm.
You could buy the stock, right? The,
Yeah.
the new iPhone is coming out. 17 gonna come out, 18, 21, 35. Number 35 gonna come out, right? By that time, the phone's gonna be $10,000. Right? But the stock, what if the stock is $10,000 and you bought it at 200?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it is strategy and it is planning. It's not only manifesting, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
working towards. It's a combination. I love that. All right. Well, I know
Mm-hmm.
this is your favorite part, and I want us to talk about it as we close off. Teaching the next generation. What should we be teaching our kids, especially young girls and young boys? I don't want to exclude them
Of course.
and or
Mm-hmm.
future entrepreneurs about loving money in a healthy way.
Well, like my mom used to say, she was broke. So that gave me a negative outlook on money, right? Until, of course, I got older. Don't tell your kids you're broke. Don't tell your kids you got to wait to get paid. Just say, let me think about it, or not right now, right? Little things that we can start, right? I teach the children the 4 ways that money is made, right? And there's only 4 ways in the whole entire planet. It's either you're an employee working for somebody, you're self-employed, owning your own job, you have a big business, or you are an investor. There's only 4 ways, right? There's only 4 ways. And the school teaches us how to be self-employed and employees. The reason they don't teach us how to build big businesses and become investors because money is power, right? And if we have money, we become powerful. When we don't have money, we become powerless. On TikTok right now, they got all these women that are crying because they're single women and they're on government assistance, they're on Section 8, they're on Medicaid and all this stuff. And Trump is sending them all letters saying, y'all getting cut off next month.
Yeah. Right.
Next month. So my thing is, where was your plan? You didn't have no plan, right? So I teach the children that adulthood is ghetto. Don't rush to be an adult. Don't rush. This not no rush for this, right? Start. And I always tell the kids too, right? If you like Nike, tell your mother to buy you a Nike stock. right? You like Apple, tell your mother to buy you Apple stock. You could become a millionaire by the time you're 18. I tell all my kids that. And you know what they all say? Really? I can?
Mm-mm-mm.
The kids need to be exposed.
Yes.
I can see when I wanted to be a math teacher, right? I just wanted to be a math teacher because I was good at math. That's it, right? But when I didn't become a math teacher, I still had to find a way to make money. So that's why I became a social worker. And then when I got fired, I came online and started teaching adults. But I didn't really like teaching adults because adults are very closed minded, right? They skeptical about everything. You broke and skeptical is insane to me, right? They ask all the wrong questions and they have nothing to show for all this big pride and big egos that they have. But when I
That's
teach
right.
the kids, it's like a breath of fresh air. They got all the right questions.
Mm.
They're
Mm-mm-mm.
open. I teach the children how to find dog walking jobs in the area if they live in a building and they have neighbors that have dogs that need to be walked. Charge your neighbors $10 a week, $20 a week to walk their dog. Right? You got a grandmother or aunt or uncle, go to their house. Right? Tell them you're
Please.
gonna clean up every week for $20 a week.
Right.
Now you're making $200 a week and you 8 years old. You're making $200 a week and you 12 years old. That
Yeah.
immediately shifts your mind and says, you know what? I'm getting my own money.
Yeah. I love
I'm
that.
not going to depend on nobody because I know how to go get my own money.
Facts.
Period.
Yeah.
Right? So I
Mm.
love teaching the kids. I love going into the schools anywhere. I can teach kids anywhere, right? But the only downfall to teaching the kids is that if the parents are still in poverty, the education don't go past them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So now this is why I incorporated into my curriculum the parents. I always
Yeah.
tell all my principals, I gotta get with the parents too. Right?
Absolutely.
So I teach
Yes.
everybody the
Yeah.
basics of understanding money and building wealth.
I love that. I love
Mhm,
that.
mhm,
So as we close off, man, I could chat with you forever, but we
mhm,
do have to end, man. Thank you. Thank
mhm.
you so much, Tanisha. As we close off, we have a listener. We have diverse listeners. We have someone that may not be able to live in a big city, don't have a big network, don't have family, right? It's them and themselves alone. But they're listening to this podcast. What's one small step that person or someone can take to start falling in love with money today?
The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Go on YouTube, it's free. Start listening to Market Mondays by my guys, Earn Your Leisure.
So we you know.
Yeah. Listen to this podcast,
Hmm.
right? Chop it up also too, because they have valuable things too. See, I always tell people that we are in the best of times, but we
Yes.
also are in the worst of times, right? Because we have so much information at our fingertips. Unfortunately, a lot of people is just too much information and we get overwhelmed with all this information and we do nothing, right? But there are some people like myself that's doing something with the information. There's levels to everything. There's levels to money. There's levels to relationships. There's levels to marriage. There's levels to life, right? A whole lot of different levels, right? And if we don't master the basics of changing this,
Yeah.
we won't even get to the first level. We will
Mm.
stay at the bottom like
How can
crabs in a
folks
barrel.
how can folks follow you? Because we need to follow you. Outside of all those external folks, we need
Mhm.
to follow Coach Tanisha. How can people tap in?
So you can follow me. I'm on TikTok, all the platforms at Coach Tanisha Marie. And if you are interested in learning, more about my books, I have 5 books on Amazon. I also do business funding and credit for people that want to build, their business. You can go to jointanisha.marie.com and I have a free webinar, right, where you can tap in and we go over how we can help you get to $250,000 for your business. And another wealth hack is business funding. I didn't realize that until 2019, right? I was using all of my money, and now it's like, okay, well, how do you keep making money? You get business funding, right? So follow me, guys, on all platforms at Coach Tanisha Marie. My events page is Dope Pop-Up Events. I have an event coming up December 6th. We already planning for that. We planning for about 500 to 1,000 families to come out. I also have another event in the summer, well, this month, which is June 21st in the Bronx. We planning on at least 2 to 500 families to come out. And the whole goal with my events is to spread knowledge, to spread the resources so that people can know what they have and actually take some type of action. So Coach Tanisha Marie on all platforms, and you can follow me on my page also too, which is jointanishamarie.com. And I have an Amazon store, so you can follow my Amazon store as well. It will be on that link at jointanishamarie.com.
And we are going to provide all of Tanisha's links so you guys can tap in. Tanisha, it's been a pleasure. I
Thank
am
you.
filled. I am filled. When we talk about empowerment, I am empowered by everything you said
Mhm.
today. And to know you is to love you. Coach Tanisha
Thank you.
Marie, coach,
Thank you.
author, serial
Mhm.
entrepreneur,
Mhm.
financial empowerment advocate. You are an
Mhm.
advocate. I want
Mhm.
to ask that God continue to bless you in this space and bless the work that you're doing because you
Mhm.
have to be protected. You're like an
Mhm.
exotic species. You have to be protected. No, seriously. I want God to continue to bless you and bless everything that you touch. And thank you
Mhm.
for blessing us.
You're welcome.
Any last words before we wrap up? Any last, mantras that anything that you do that you can give us little tips on as we sign off?
Well, I always tell people this: if not now, then when? And if it's not going to be you, then who?
Come on now. Whew. That was a powerful conversation. If you guys are ready to start building a better relationship with your money, remember it starts with mindset, intention, and action. Falling in
Mhm.
love with money isn't about chasing it. It isn't about respecting it, understanding, and using it as a tool to build the life you deserve. That's what it's about. Huge
Mhm.
thanks to Coach Tanisha Marie for sharing so many gems with us today. And be sure to follow, share, and leave us a review, you guys. If this episode hit home for you, and I know it does, and I know it will, make sure you leave us a review.
Mhm.
As always, stay focused, stay fly, and stay building. This is the Chop It Up podcast. We'll
Mhm.
catch you on the next one. Bye, you guys.
Good night.